Look at this animal. It is on coins, it is on logos, it is on children's backpacks. It is one of the most recognizable mammals on Earth, the kangaroo. In Australia, there are tens of millions of them. In some years, more kangaroos than people. They breed fast. They eat grass. They need no barns. They need no grain shipments. Their meat is lean, high in protein, high in iron, lower in fat than beef. On paper, this should be one of the smartest meats alive. So why is it almost nowhere on the world's dinner tables? Not in most American kitchens, not in most European weekly shops, not in the global meat aisle next to chicken and cow. You can fly 12 hours to Australia, walk into a supermarket, and find kangaroo mince next to the beef, then fly home and watch the same animal turn back into a cartoon. That split is the whole mystery. This is not a story about a rare animal. This is a story about a common animal the world refuses to chew. Stay until the end. Because the answer is not only taste, it is not only law, it is not only farming. It is a filter your brain runs every time you look at a plate. A filter that decides which bodies are food and which bodies are forbidden by feelings. The kangaroo failed that filter outside Australia, and once you see why, you will never look at beef the same way again, or at your own appetite. Let's start with the lie inside the question, because somebody does eat kangaroo. Australia eats kangaroo. Not everyone. Not every day, but enough that it is normal on shelves. Steaks, mince, sausages, restaurant specials for tourists and locals alike. Indigenous Australians hunted kangaroos for thousands of years. Long before flags, long before supermarkets, long before the internet argued about whether Skippy is dinner. So, the title is slightly wrong on purpose. The world will not eat kangaroo. Australia already can. That difference is the doorway. Modern kangaroo meat is mostly wild harvested, not raised like feedlot cattle. Professional shooters work under quotas, population counts, licenses, night work across huge landscapes. In farming country, kangaroos can become pests. They eat pasture meant for sheep. They hit cars. They multiply when water and grass appear. Without enough dingoes in many places, the old pressure is gone, so numbers boom. Then managers cull. And here comes the uncomfortable logic. If an animal is already being killed for land management, wasting the meat is its own kind of strange. Australia turned part of that reality into food, and into pet food, and into leather. The rest of the world mostly kept the souvenir version. Soft toys, documentaries, Olympic mascots. The edible kangaroo stopped at the border of culture. Why? Layer 1 is the most honest, and the most childish. The cute tax. Your brain does not rank food by nutrition charts alone. It ranks by story. Big eyes, upright posture, a face that looks like it could have a name, a hop that looks like play, a pouch that looks like parenthood. That package triggers care, not hunger. Cows got sorted into livestock centuries ago. Chickens too. Pigs too. The kangaroo got sorted into character. Once an animal becomes a character, eating it feels like betrayal. Not biology, category error. You already know this filter. Dogs are delicious to some cultures, horrifying to others. Horses are food in one country, friends in another. Rabbits flip between pet and stew depending on the postcode. The meat did not change, the story did. Kangaroos carry Australia on their backs in the global imagination. They are the living logo of a continent. Eating the logo feels rude, even when the logo is overgrazing a paddock. This is why tourists photograph them. Then freeze when the menu says kangaroo fillet. The tongue wants protein. The identity wants innocence. Identity usually wins, especially far from the farms where the animal is a problem. Distance makes mascots. Proximity makes pests. Australia lives in proximity. The world lives in postcards. That alone could stall a global meet. But it is not alone, because even if everyone suddenly stopped finding kangaroos adorable, the supply chain would still fight you. Layer 2 is industrial, and it is brutal in a quiet way. Buck. Cows stand behind fences. Pigs stay in systems humans designed. Chickens scale inside buildings. Kangaroos jump, really jump. They are built for open country and escape. They stress in confinement. They are not a classic domestication package. Domestication loves animals that breed in captivity, tolerate humans, live in herds you can control, eat what you provide. Kangaroos fail half those exams, so the industry leans on wild harvest. That creates a different meat, not identical steaks every time. Not the same cut language shoppers memorized. T-bone, drumstick, ribeye. Kangaroo often arrives as unfamiliar shapes, lumps of lean game, to a hurried cook that looks like risk. And it is risk. Kangaroo is extremely lean, almost no forgiving fat. Cook it like a thick beefsteak for too long, and it turns tough, dry, a little tragic. People try once, fail, go back to mince that behaves. Markets hate foods that punish beginners. Chicken forgives. Kangaroo grades your technique. There is also price and logistics, wild collection, inspection, export paperwork, cold chain across oceans. Compared with the mountain of cheap chicken the world already built, Kangaroo is a side path. Side paths stay niche, unless culture drags them into the center. Layer 3 is the border, law, hygiene fear, politics. Wild game crosses national lines under hard rules. Import systems want predictable farms, known feed, known disease profiles, known slaughterhouses. A night-shot macropod in the outback, it is a different file. Some markets allow inspected kangaroo meat. Some make it rare. Some states have fought over bans and restarts for decades. California has a long political history around kangaroo products. Animal welfare arguments, population arguments, industry lobbying, public image. You do not need every statute memorized to see the pattern. Controversy is expensive. Supermarkets prefer quiet meat. Chicken is quiet. Kangaroo comes with comment sections attached. Then comes the hygiene ghost. Wild animals carry parasites and bacteria in the wild. That is normal for wildlife. Regulated export meat is supposed to meet safety standards, but perception does not wait for lab paper. One headline about contamination can freeze a curious shopper for life. There is also the pet food shadow. For years, a lot of kangaroo protein went to animals, not people. Once a meat lives in the dog food aisle of the mind, it struggles to climb onto the dinner plate. Status sticks harder than protein. Add gamey flavor. Add unfamiliar cooking. Add mascot guilt. Add import friction. And you get a perfect storm of almost. Almost healthy enough. Almost abundant enough. Almost ethical enough in cull logic. Almost never chosen. Almost is where global foods go to die. Now the darker ledger. Every meat has a bill. Beef pays in land. Feed, methane, water. Kangaroo pays differently. It is not a magic clean meat fairy tale. Harvest methods are argued fiercely. Animal welfare groups challenge shooting practices, especially around females and young. Industry and government answer with codes and data. The fight itself becomes part of the product. People do not only buy flavor, they buy moral quiet. Kangaroo does not sell moral quiet outside its home range. Meanwhile, cattle won history, not because cows are cuter than joeys in every culture, because cows plugged into empire, religion, trade routes, cheese, leather economies, military rations, colonial farming templates. The cow is infrastructure. The kangaroo is a local solution with global branding problems. That is the cold math. Food globalization rewards what scales inside human systems, not what photographs well on a stamp. So the world keeps its sacred cow, sometimes literally, and keeps its untouchable kangaroo, sometimes emotionally. Two different bands, same human habit. We sort the living into lanes, then pretend the lanes were natural law. So here's the answer. Why the world will not eat kangaroo meat. Because Australia already can, and the rest of the planet never put the kangaroo in the livestock lane. It put the kangaroo in the mascot lane, because kangaroos are hard to farm like cows. Because wild harvest feels less industrial and less trustworthy to distant shoppers. Because the meat is lean and unforgiving in a beginner kitchen. Because borders love paperwork and hate controversy. Because pet food memory and parasite fear stick. Because welfare fights travel farther than recipes. And because your appetite is not a calculator, it is a museum of stories. Chicken won the story of easy protein. Beef won the story of status and habit. Kangaroo won the story of Australia. Winning Australia is not the same as winning dinner. Now the mirror. This was never only about kangaroos, it is about the invisible menu in your head. The animals you could eat, but will not. The foods that are rational, and still disgusting to you for reasons you never audited. Your great-grandparents ran a different filter. Your grandchildren might too. Lobster was once prison food in some places. Then it became luxury. Categories move, guilt moves, markets follow. So when you see a kangaroo and feel love instead of lunch, that feeling is real. It is also trained. Trained by cartoons, flags, distance, and a food system that already crowned other animals kings. The world will not eat kangaroo meat because the world already decided what kangaroo means. and meaning beats macros almost every time. Your plate is not just hunger, it is a border, and the kangaroo is still stuck on the wrong side of it.